And joining us now in the studio to discuss the influx of beggars, especially child beggars, is the Chief Executive Officer and Founder at South Africa, Epelle. Welcome to Newsnight. It's heartbreaking to see children on the street begging, particularly children. I know for some, they say it's business for them, and according to that analysis, it's a culture, they say. But what do you think is fueling this growing trend? Particularly children in the Federal Capital Territory? I think a good place to start.
Well, I think generally, whether it's in Abuja or in Sokoto or Maiduguri or Port Harcourt, I think I can attribute it to systemic poverty, which obviously results to economic imbalance. And so when certain families can't meet the daily 3 square meal, they tend to use their children as a means of getting some economic benefit by reducing them to a very inhuman treatment of going to beg. And so that in itself is a major problem. There's also the issue of unemployment. Their parents are not employed. The children that are not in school can't go to school, want some means of livelihood, and so they take to street begging. There is also, like your reporter said, cultural myth and religious superstition that fuel this kind of practice. There is also the issue of very organized beggars that you may call cartel, that tend to send these children, and then of course they come back to them to report what they've been able to get as a result of begging. Some of them are told, if you spend that money, you will die. Some of them will swear an oath that whatever they get, they will come back to report to the person who is sending them. I think you've seen a situation where you will find a particular woman or man in one corner of the street, and the kids are with him or her, and the moment they see somebody that they feel is economically buoyant, they will send that child, and the child will come and say, I'm not eating, or God, give me something to eat, and all that. So these are some of the problems that are fueling the influx of these beggars. And I don't think government have taken a holistic approach to solving this issue and putting an end to it. Until that is done, a situation where government will take a multifaceted approach to solving this problem, we will never solve it. We'll keep seeing a reoccurrence.
It would seem the authorities appear to be struggling with how to manage this growing challenge. What kind of policies or intervention would you recommend to effectively address street begging, not just in the FCT now, but across the country?
I think there's been some skeletal laws and motions that is in place. But like I said, there have not been a holistic policy
in place
or legislative instrument that will address this to the root. No matter how much laws you have, if you don't address the issue of economic inequalities, if you don't address the issues of unemployment, if you don't address the issues of the myth surrounding begging and how some people feel that it is their right, it is a good practice, to go out there and beg because they are most likely they will make more money. It will never be solved. Sometimes it's not the law, it is how effective the existing laws have been implemented and the determination on the part of government to ensure that they find simple, common means of livelihood for the people involved. If you don't address those root causes, you will still, and you are treating the symptom, you will still get the same result.
Perhaps a good place to also start from in terms of addressing the challenge is to look at how to protect, the child, these children, because
Exactly.
I know you work extensively with, vulnerable groups,
Yes.
children and all of that.
Yeah.
But what sort of protections are currently in place for child beggars in Nigeria? Or maybe I should put the question, what kind
For
of
children in
protection should
general.
we put in place to protect these children from hitting the street? Because from your analysis and from that report, the parents are behind it. Someone sent them out there.
Exactly.
How would you address this?
Well, I think the government needs to look at, apart from the policies and legislation, they need to look at concrete, effective, efficient social safety nets. They need to look at what are those things that we can provide that can ensure that
Right.
these people will have simple means of livelihood, that their 3 square meals are guaranteed, that shelter is provided. These are the responsibility of any government that truly wants to serve its people. I think also it's important to also address the issue of disability. There are children that have disability that don't have anyone that will care for them. They will go out to look for opportunities through begging. There are also parents with disability that cannot even fend for their children. So they send the children to go and beg for them. So there's a need to address the issue to the root. Social safety net that can provide for the people. There's a need to also ensure that there are better working employment for both parents and even children who are of working age that can get work so that they don't have to be in the street.
Quickly.
But again, you'll find a situation where for instance, the FCT administration, I understand they have a rehabilitation center, and how long will you rehabilitate them? Are they truly rehabilitated? Are they truly given skills, an alternative to going outside to beg? These are some of the issues that government needs to answer. But it is not a problem that cannot be solved. The solutions are there, but the will to do those things. And sometimes crooked politicians, when resources are given to them to provide interventions for these kind of issues, they put it in their pocket and they won't do anything. And I think FCT administration and every administration needs to nip it in the bud and do something that is sustainable.
All right.
They keep taking them off streets, and before you know it, they were back in the street.
Back again.
Yeah.
All right. We believe that the government will do something about it. Thank you so much, Epelle, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, TAF Africa. Thank you for coming on the news site.
Thank you for having me.